Hello friends, Tanya here for Trinity Stamps, and this is the last day of Sneak Peek Week, and tomorrow is the big release. I am going to be using a couple of rainbow themed things today, well, rainbow and tea. This is a cup of Positivity stamp with coordinating dies. It's one stamp in the set with several dies that cut out the different components of this image. I love this. This makes it so much more versatile. You'll be able to use the different pieces without having to cut apart your stamp. And you can use it for different sized cards. I decided to pair this image with the Shimmer Rainbow Sampler, which are handmade watercolors available through the Trinity Stamps shop. And I have a little cheap plastic palette here to add my colors to as I rehydrate them so I can keep the color consistent because it changes with the amount of water that you have mixed with it. And I did mix these fairly thickly, and I have stamped this image in a waterproof ink on 80-pound Neenah Solar White cardstock. So this is not watercolor paper. I didn't want to use a ton of water for that reason, and it makes the shimmer more intense on your image. I did use the white or silvery white color, the shimmery color. It's very similar to the liquid pixie dust, FYI, and you can watercolor with that too. And I added that to the rim, the foot, and the handle of the cup, and also to the little tag. And I've created a little red heart on there. Well, not created, I colored the heart red. And I am also painting the letters of the words that have a bubble cut to them with the same watercolor colors. And I was lucky enough to divide those colors perfectly, so there are two images with each of the colors. I really thought that was perfect. Now I'm using some Copics to add the color to the T on the inside of the cup. And I start with my lightest. And I'm trying not to work this a lot. So I started with the lightest and I just added each darker color towards the edges. And that actually worked out perfect. Now the lines are a little blurred because shimmer colors or shimmer watercolors will obscure the lines a little bit. So I'm going to take the stamp and lay it over the image in my MISTI, and I'm going to stamp over it with VersaFine Onyx Black ink because this will be easy to heat emboss. And I'm holding my breath, praying that I don't mess it up because I spent about 15 minutes painting that image. I sped it way up. And look at that, perfection. It stamped perfectly and it really sharpened up those lines. Now I'm going to come back with some clear embossing powder and put that over the top. And I'm going to heat that until it is raised and shiny. I think that really adds a lot to this image and really makes it pop even more. What do you think? Do you love that rainbow? I just can't hardly even see this cup without it being a rainbow anymore. Now I'm going to use the coordinating dies. You can't lay them all out at once to die cut, but you can cut all of the images from the same stamp impression. Now, warning, if you use washi tape over the top of your painted shimmer paint, you are going to remove some of the paint. So I just touched it back up after the fact. Now we're going to use another new item. Now, Trinity hasn't carried rubber stamps or large background stamps in the past, not 6x6. And now they have the encouragement text background stamp. I love it. I love background stamps. I love all the techniques you can do. And I am also using the new 5x7 or A7 dies that are included in this release. I am over the moon about that. I use 5x7 cards a lot. So I was super happy when that came out. Now, in order to extend this 6x6 image to cover an entire 5x7 panel, I put a piece of acetate in the MISTI to stamp the location of where this will be, and then slipped my already stamped image or paper underneath it and lined it up so I could get a perfect continuation of this particular image. Now I am creating the panel that's going directly behind the cup. And I took the Maryland Red and Bee Sting Yellow Atelier Ink on 3 inks, and I started using the blender brushes. Now I wanted a pretty heavy application of ink, and these work best for a light application of ink. So about halfway through, I switched to the ink blending tools with the sponges just to get it. Now, if you just wanted a light application, these work great. And these still work great with the ink blending tools. However you want to do it, it works great. But by using these 2 colors, I still get that third color, an orange, which is very similar to the marigold. Marigold orange. Now I'm using that shimmery white watercolor again to add some spatters to this background. And I want just a little more, and then I add some water because I want some of that reactiveness from the inks to show through. Now it's time to pull out some of my favorite things from this release. This is the Modern Embossed A7 stack. There are 18 different sizes of dies here with the Modern Embossed edge, and I've taken 2 of them and die cut those. And now we're going to assemble our card. I put coaster blank on the back of the different layers, and this is a 5x7 card base in white. I think it's a 100-pound cardstock. And I'm going to just layer them up. I am really enjoying the flexibility that this stack of rectangle dies is giving me to create different layouts for 5x7 cards. And you can expand this expand this stamp and die set however you need to fill this card. And you don't even have to line them up vertically like this has been on the stamp. You could move things around. You could put that sentiment over the top of the cup. You could use just that top sentiment. You could use the heart separate. There's so many ways you could do this. But this is, I like to center things. I think that's kind of my default. I end up centering things a lot. I'm working on going back to some of my other methods, but this works. It works every time. And I did take the A7 envelope builder and created an envelope for this particular card. And to make my life easier, I created a little map on my product backing just so I would know how to cut a 12 by 12 piece of paper to get all the pieces I need. Those are the pieces we need for the envelope, and I'm taking the base of the envelope, the large rectangle that will be the front of the envelope, and I'm going to stamp it with the encouragement text stamp using the Hero Arts contour ink, which is a nice faded color. It's actually designed for doing no line watercoloring. We're not using it that way today. It's just going to create a subtle image. I'm also taking the teacup image and using the same ink, and we're going to stamp right over the top of it and create a little graphic on the corner of the stamp, the envelope that won't be needed for addressing. And I do stamp it twice just to make it a little darker than the text background. And out comes that shimmery white watercolor again, and I'm going to spatter that over all of the different components of the envelope. I really like how this looks. The paper I'm using is a inexpensive ream of paper that I got that said it was a Bristol, but it isn't a Bristol Smooth. I got it pretty inexpensively at Walmart, and it takes about 2 sheets of the 8.5 by 11 cardstock to get all of the pieces for this particular envelope. It is a bigger envelope because it's for a 5x7 card. And you're seeing me assemble this. It's the base with the 4 different flaps. We've got the 2 side flaps, and then the top curved one and the bottom one. And I'm just using liquid glue to adhere all of that together. It works beautifully. This envelope is slightly heavier than a regular envelope. I'm using a little liner tape to be the sealant. And that is that envelope. Now this card I did not actually video making. I am using the new Big Hello foil and cut stamps, not stamp, set. I foiled the hello in a rainbow foil and then die cut it with the word die and then the bubble cut die. And I made a mini slimline card using the Cozy Cottage porch images along with the sentiments. And I also used the quilted, what was it, slimline quilted cover die. And the mini slimline modern embossed edge dies to create this. The foil and cut is amazing. There are 3 of those coming out: hello, thanks, and celebration. And I have a whole bunch of them already cut and foiled and stuck in that bag. I also used the mini slimline envelope builder die to create a matching envelope. And those are my products or projects for this video. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel if you haven't done it yet. And tomorrow, so June 25th, I will have links in the description box below for all of the products that were used in this video. And today, just the links that are available at this particular moment. Here are a couple more videos that we thought you might enjoy. And until next time, bye-bye.